Hello, welcome back to JR Oil Paintings 101. Now, this is oh, by the way, my name is Jeff Robinson. I'm going to be trying to teach you a wet on wet oil painting technique. Um, as you can see, I got my 20 by 24 stretched canvas. We don't recommend canvas board because it's a wet on wet technique. Canvas board has a piece of cardboard in the middle of it, so it absorb all the oil on your out of your liquid white and it dry up too quick. So, with that being said, I'm going to run down the colors I'm going to use today, which is um, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, sap green, phthalo green, Van Dyke brown, burnt sienna, black, alizarin crimson, red, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and titanium white, I think. So, we're going to start off. We're going to do a little mountain scene today. I love painting mountains, so we're going to just get right into it. And we're just going to put in a nice little simple sky with a little bit of phthalo blue. Phthalo blue. Just tap a little bit of phthalo blue into the colors here, into your brush here. And then just start it. I like to start at the corners, darken them up a little bit, and just kind of back and forth a little bit. It'll mix with that titanium, liquid white on the canvas already. That's what I started with, just a stretch canvas with little liquid white all over it. Nice thin liquid white. There we go, somewhere around there. I don't think we're going to do any clouds in this one today. I think we're just going to have a nice little blue sky here with some light and dark areas in the sky. Something like that, I think we'll do. Kind of blend it out just a little bit where all those brush strokes kind of disappear. Now then. Yep. And we'll do a little bit of water in this one, I think. And if we decide not to put water in here, we can just cover it up with whatever. If you're doing water in your painting, that's not running water, it's going to be kind of flat and level. So just pull straight in from the outside in. And you just go back and forth just a little bit. Something about like that. Now then we're going to go ahead and mix up some mountain color. And for that, I think we're going to go with a little bit of Prussian blue. It's a dark blue, black, a little alizarin crimson. I think a whole lot of alizarin crimson actually. We're going to have kind of more of a violet color. Now we're going to loosely mix this color on the palette here, just very loose. Not going to be a very tight mixture at all. So I'll do our little mountain here, and just get you a bit of paint on the edge of your knife right here, and you're going to have to decide if you're going to have one big mountain range or two, three, however. I think we're going to start with one today. We might do a couple, but I think it's just going to be one big mountain range here. So we're going to start off. Don't go straight dead in the center of your canvas to do your major peak. Go just a little off center one way or the other. Just kind of looks a little better composition wise. And we're going to go down here and just get you some mountain shapes. Don't get a lot of the teepee looking just shapes because it won't make you happy. It'll look like just a lot of triangles up there in the sky. And then we just have a few other little peaks over here. We're really concerned about that top edge more than anything else. Don't worry about what's in here, but don't mess that top edge up. You want it real distinct when you're doing these. And we got one side of the mountain. Let's do some peaks on the other side. Now we just go up and over here, about like that, maybe over. That's right there where that board is in the middle of the back of the canvas there. And then I think we'll go up with a little peak over here and just kind of up the side of that mountain. Now then, let's see. Let's put another little bump over here. Another little peaky, another little peaky peeking out over here. Little one over here. And we'll just kind of bring it in. About like that. Maybe another little one right here. So we just don't have one big range. It keeps getting bigger. I'm gonna have to add another canvas over here on this one. There we go. Something about like that. Now then we'll take our big 2-inch brush. We're just going to use the one we put the color on there with the sky on there. It didn't have to be clean. Oops, sorry, I bumped the camera. Goodness gracious. And try not to disturb that top edge. Just pull down. Just pull in the direction you got your mountain going. Try not to disturb too much of that top edge, because you want a real distinct edge. When you see a mountain off in the distance, that edge is the first thing you see, and it stays nice and crisp. You don't really see much of the body of the mountain. Just kind of pull down both directions. I know where those peaks live. You have both sides. You know, the peak has two sides. Mountain has a lot of different sides here, so you know, we're gonna go up this way. Just take and pull it off that way. You can lay out your mountain just by brush strokes. You'll see all your flavors in there. We just kind of tap in our crisscrossy strokes on the bottom of it there. And there you go. There you got your basic mountain shape. And we're going to put in some highlights and low lights and snow and all that good stuff here in just a second. So for that, we'll get our big palette knife out and get you some titanium white. Just straight old titanium white. Now you got to decide where your light source is, over here or over here. But by the sky, it looks a little lighter over here, so it should be coming from over here. Don't you think? At least I do. Now I'll try not to think, but anyway. Now you're going to hold your knife very gently, just maybe 1 or 2 fingers, maybe a third one to guide it, but don't put your finger on that blade and put too much pressure on it. You just want that little bit of paint on the edge, and then hold it very gently and with no pressure at all. You're going to start at the tip of that and just barely pull down. Just let the snow break on that mountain. Just pull down. See how it breaks in those nice little holes there? That's what makes your mountain. And just decide where the snow is going to live on your mountain, and then you just pull down in angles. You know, painting is about angles, contrast, and a little bit of balance. Like I say, you don't want too many trees over here and none over here. painting them hang crooked. You don't want a crooked, you don't want a crooked mountain scene. I'll put a little bit of peak over here. And just kind of pull down. And you decide where you want your snow to fall. Now, we're going to come back over this way, and then we're going to have some little snow in this valley right here. So just kind of pull a C, a little bit of C-shaped stroke. Just kind of grab over here and pull. We'll have some low lights coming in over that way. What? You're just going to keep on trucking until you get all your snow put on there. You might want to pull these off just a little bit more to the side over here, because it's going to be a little valley right in there, the way I see it all the way down. And these just going to come straight down, something like that. Just pay attention to your angles, because you're going to be using those angles all the way through this painting, or through the painting of your mountain. Now we're going to have this low light on top of this. We're going to push him back just a little bit here, and just a little bit when we start putting in the low lights and stuff. Right now we're just doing the highlights. And this guy's going to be, he's the main peak, so he's going to be big, front and center. Maybe a little bit more over on that side. You just got to decide where you want your snow, your highlights on there, and just put them in. And do the same thing here as we did over here. Got to pull it this way. There's going to be a little bit of a valley between this big peak and this little guy over here. So just kind of pull at an angle, a little bit of an angle, and your snow will gather in that little valley. I want to pull straight down. Right here, you don't anyway. And we'll pull a little bit more over here. There we go, something like that. Now we're going to switch to the smaller knife. And we're just going to bring down a little bit of a peak here. Just a little bit, because there's going to be an awful lot of darkness over here. So we're going to put a little bit of a peak right here, just to kind of break up all that darkness. And then over here, on these little guys, we'll have a little bit of snow. A little bit of snow on him, so he'll stand out from the rest of it. Just a bit. Maybe this little bump here's got a little bit. All right. Now then we're going to mix up a little bit of shadow color. We'll have a little bit of titanium white and a little bit of phthalo blue. You got to be very careful not get a lot of phthalo blue on here, because phthalo blue is a very, very strong color, and it'll mix in with that white, and you'll have just more blue than you think you want. At least for me, I do. So we're just going to mix it up and wipe our little knife off here. Gotta get some more paper towels. I just ran out. Anyway, they're right here. I keep extra in here. I use a lot of paper towels in this technique. So now we got our basics down as far as our highlight colors that we like. Now we're going to do some of what I like to call the low lights. The reason I call them low lights is because there's low light. So some people like to call it shadows, but no, they're low lights. Come on now. We're going to pull in the opposite direction that we pulled our highlights in and do the same thing very gently. You want that? You want those colors to also break. Get them little holes in there. See all that dark undercolor there? You got to have that. Otherwise, it'll look like you're just frosting something. And we don't want that right now, or at least I don't. Now we're going to come in here like this. So you're going to take that color here and just drag it over into that little valley. And we can't forget this man. I have to have him. Anywhere there's, like I say, anywhere there's a highlight, there's going to be a low light. You gotta, it just makes the peak. If you don't have that low light in there, then it doesn't look like a peak. It just looks like half a mountain. Now we're going to put in just a little color. We're going to push this guy in the back, but first we're going to put his highlights in. And you're just going to push it out like that. All right? We're going to push him backwards. And yeah, you can push mountains around here. Look at this. And you're going to push that back in there. See how I pushed him back? He's no longer in the forefront. He's behind this guy. This guy likes that. He likes being in charge. That's right. You're just going to grab, pull it down an angle. That's really all a mountain is angles, right? You just got to remember which angle you put it in. Yeah. There you go. Look at that. We're getting a good looking mountain range here. I'm liking this one. It's looking pretty good. Now we're going to do the same thing here as we did here and over here. Now swoop it over. I have a little bit of color that's coming up. You're just going to take it and zoop, zoop, just about like that. Anywhere there's any of those peaks, that's what we're going to do with it. Got to have them low lights. And see, if this didn't have any shadow or low lights in it, it doesn't look like a peak. It doesn't look like a mountain. It looks like a half a mountain. So you just got to put some low lights in there and drag it down. And we can put some up here. And then we just do the same way here. Put them down, pull it down, pull it down. Stick it in there. And just pull. There's something about like that. I mean, you got all kinds of time. You can just play with these. Have a good old time with these. I do recommend that if you're just starting out painting, never painted a mountain in your life, try one with just one or two peaks. Don't go all out with these big suckers. It takes practice. And shoot, we got a nice looking little mountain. Now, to kind of finish this mountain off, you can either use a 2-inch brush or a 1-inch brush, and we'll use the 1-inch. And we're just going to tap down. Same direction you pulled your highlights down. Just tap it. You're going to mistify up this area here underneath the mountain. You don't want it real distinct down here at the base of the mountain. And if you got this one coming down this way, tap in that direction. You got this one coming down straight down, tap down straight. And this one, too. Just tap that base of this mountain And to the side over here, I'm going to tap this way. Because you never see where a mountain ends. You really stop and think about it, it don't really end. It just turns into ground, right? But you see everything in front of it. You want your ground, you want this mist, fog, whatever you want to call it, in front of the mountain, just a little bit. And it barely pull up, just makes the tap marks go away as all. But pull up in the same angle you tapped it in. Keep your angles going, man. There we go. I just beat it up. There we go. Now we got a nice little mountain area right there already. Makes for a pretty background. See why I didn't want a lot of clouds up there? See that contrast between the light and the dark there? It just makes my painting. I just love that. All right, now we're going to take that same color we just made up for our mountain color, and we're going to put in a little bit of sap green with it and white. Why? Because we're going to make some trees. Now, where's my sap green? There's my sap green. Just put a little bit of sap green in with it and mix up, like I say, just loosely mix it. And we're going to make some nice little evergreens here in the background. We're going to put a little bit of white in here with it to lighten it up some. Just kind of like I say, loosely mix this to where it doesn't have much green in it. It's still that really dark color, but it's got just lightened it up. It's the same basic color that we used. Let's see if I need a good brush here. I guess we use that one. And then we'll get a little fan brush going here. A little fan brush action. This is the number 6. Number 3 is about half as big. We're going to make some far off distant trees here. We're just going to put in that color that we just mixed up, which was a mountain color plus just a little bit of green and some white. It's more of a lavender color now than the mountain was. But that's all right too. We'll have some distant trees. And it's kind of like foothills. So we're going to just put in a few, excuse me, a little. And the way we're going to make these trees is just going to kind of tap straight down just like that all the way across. And I'll show you here. We're just going to use the top corner of the brush here. And we're just going to just pull down. Just keep on pulling down, wherever you want your trees to go. Don't make them all the same size. You want to vary your sizes and shapes of these trees. So just keep pulling down. And decide where you want to put how far up this hill you want your trees to go. And just keep adding a little bit of paint to your brush until you get, however far you want your trees to go. We're going to go pretty far over, so we'll come down a little bit here and there. Nice little group of trees right there. And there. What do they call them? A stand of trees, if it's a bunch of them. Stand, group, whatever you want to call it. Got a bunch of trees there. And we're going to keep going over. This is getting kind of repetitive to do this and tell you exactly what I'm doing. It's the same stuff, just that downward stroke. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to thank everybody that has subscribed to this channel and all those that have tuned in. If you hadn't subscribed, think about it. It's just a matter of pushing a little button, and you'll get, you'll find out when I drop a new video. Which I don't know. I don't have a set schedule about when I upload these little fellers. Just whenever I can. I work a regular 8 to 5 job, Monday through Friday. So You may get a whole slew of videos this weekend. I got a 3-day weekend coming up, so Memorial Day weekend. So not going out of town or anything, so let me just sit here and paint and drop some videos. You may have a whole bunch of them to choose from come this weekend. Hopefully you don't get tired of them. So we'll do some interesting stuff coming up videos. I've got a few in mind. I got a couple. I got one in mind. It's nothing but kind of like a deep in the forest uh, painting where it doesn't have any sky. It just got some far off trees in the distance, and then it's like you're deep in the woods. That takes a little while, so I don't want to do that tonight. We'll do it this weekend. Maybe even a covered bridge this weekend. We'll do it. We'll do a multitude of things this 3-day weekend. So anyway, I do appreciate y'all tuning in and subscribing. Like I say, and if you hadn't subscribed, go for it. And give my website a look. It's jroilpaintings.com. I've got a bunch of them up for sale. I'm going to be updating this weekend on what I've got for sale. I've got a few more that's ready to put on the site. So, and my email is on there, on that website. And if you find something you like but just can't quite afford it, shoot, give me an email, and we might be able to work out a deal, lower the price some. So we're just gonna put in these little trees till they meet. I like a nice line of trees here. About like that. Then we'll take our 1-inch brush that we did the blending of the mountain with, knock off a little bit of that paint that it picked up. We're going to do the same thing. Yeah, we're going to do the same thing here. Just kind of tap the base of those trees. Get that little foggy, misty area going in here. It does two things. It kind of cleans up the bottoms of these trees, and it acts as a separator for your next whatever you're going to put in front of these trees. Which will probably be another little line of trees here and there. Not all the way across this next time. Now then, we're going to wipe off the knife or the brush here just a little bit. Gently, very gently, pull straight up. That's going to take out some of the tap marks, sharpen up the trees just a little bit. All the way down. There we go. 1-inch brush there. Okay, so now we got that going on. And I think what we're going to do is put in just a couple of lines of trees here and there, because I want to show you that you can push those trees back and have another little plane of trees, or another little plane in your painting rather. So we're just going to add just a little bit more dark to that same color. We're just going to have a little less white in it is all. We'll even take that same dirty brush that we was just using. I'm going to wipe just a little bit of that color off of it that we were using on it. Okay. And then we're going to dip into that color we just made. Just get it on the brush nice and thick. And then we're going to do some other. Now, I'm going to have a big tree up here, probably on both sides. So we're just going to add a few trees right here in the center. I'm not going to worry too much about the sides just yet. We might though, I don't know. Anyway, come right up in here somewhere. And we're just going to tap in a few extra trees here. You got that misty separator in there, and then you got these a little bit darker trees in front. So it looks like you're coming closer. These are getting a little bit closer, so they're getting a little darker in color. And remember, when it comes closer to you, they get darker. The same basic color, just a little less white in there. I'm just going to keep tapping in these trees. And then we will put in some different stuff. I think I'm going to go over here and leave it off about right in there, I think. That's where we'll stop these trees. I hope everybody has a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. It's coming up. Tomorrow's Friday, so first of the long weekend. So if you have any good plans, I hope they're good. I hope you have a good time with it. And shoot, tune in if you can. If not, tune in next week. They'll still be up there. You know how it goes. YouTube. As soon as you get it out there, it's there. All right. Now we got shoot, if you're like me and you're gonna stay home painting, drop me a line. Tell me what you're painting. I might like to try it one of these days. I'm always looking for ideas. Now we're going to, instead of mystifying these, we're going to make some reflections. And what we're going to do is take our 1-inch brush, pull straight down. Just straight down. About like that. Get that extra paint off of it, and then come straight across. Usually I use a 2-inch brush for this, but I already had a 1-inch brush. I already messed up some as I use it. And then you just, voila. Instant reflection. This was the first little neat technique that I learned about on this is, or effect that I learned doing this. I have a little bit of a water line right through here. Just kind of saw it in place. This is just liquid white. And back here, we're going to go up a little bit like that. A little bit of land right there. That's all this is showing you where the land's going to be, or is. It's just a little bit of liquid white. You can add some different colors to it. If you want it to seem far off, just add a little bit of that same color that you got, that you made the trees that stuff out of. And it'll blend in a little bit better. Now you just want to take it on up a little bit like that. Like I say, there's going to be stuff over here, so I'm not too worried about that right there. We'll have other things along the side, like right now. So see there, you got a couple of different planes already. 1, 2, 3. You got 3 different planes. The more planes you have, the more distance you have in your painting. Right? All right. We're looking good now, Bubbas. Bubbas and Bubbettes. Now we're going to go a little bit darker. Just a little bit of black. Even with that same color that we just had. Just a little bit more black on there, that's all. Load that fan brush just full of paint. Now we're going to make some big trees. And I said there's going to be some on each side of these, right? Yeah, that's what I said. That's what we're going to do right here. We're going to start right here. And we'll cover some of this up right here, I think. Yeah, we'll just start right here. Why not? First, you make your little line there, and you don't have to take it all the way down. That way you don't have anything that guides you. That's just a starting point. And plus, you don't want to go, when you take your fan brush, you don't want to go up past the top of that. You want to just below the top of that line, because that top of the line is going to be your the top of that tree trunk. We'll make it a little more distinct here. Right there. Can you see that? I don't even see it. It's there somewhere. Anyway, you take it right here. Just push. Use the corner of that brush. Just touch it. And just back and forth. Add a little more pressure when you go down. Just kind of go back and forth on this little tree you got going here. Yeah, something about like that. See why I wasn't too worried about going over here? I have a nice little bush, or a nice little tree, really. I go about right there. We're going to give him some friends over here, so I'm not too worried about that yet. Just get some of that dark color on your brush. Same way, we're going to put a couple of different trees here. A couple more trees here. We're going to give him a little buddy that's a little bit bigger. Right there. Like I say, we're just going to put a line in there first. See that line right there? Right there. Just go just below that top of that line. If that line's going to stick out, it's going to be the top of your trunk. And you're just going to touch the corner and go back and forth on this. Just kind of vary the, don't go the same all the way down. You're going to get a little bit longer out here the further down you get. And leave him off about the same spot you left that guy off. I think we got room for one more. And I'll get a little more of that dark color on your brush. And there we go, something like that. And we're going to go really big, way up here into the sky. That's right. He's going to be a big tree. There we go. Now we're cooking. And then we just touch. Kind of pushing down at the same time you're going back and forth. Don't worry about all this mess here. We're going to put highlights in there and it'll separate all this out. Biggest part is that distinct. We covered up our little tree right here, didn't we? Again, we're going to have to do something about that. That's not right. I'm going to change his top notch to over here just a little bit. There we go. And we'll just add there. Now he's got his top notch back. You can't have a tree without a top notch. You got to have a top notch. I mean, come on. And we go in a little bit more black. The same color, just a little bit more black. Oh, lots of color in your brush. And we're going to go over here to this other side because we got the same mess going there. And we're going to put in a little tree right here. We're going to start out with a little one here. Same way, just tap. And as you're tapping, go from one side of the tree to the other. And come all the way down to wherever you decide you want that tree to stop. And I'm thinking somewhere right around there. This one's going to be a little behind those two. All right. I'll give him a little friend. Same way, I think we're just going to go a little smaller. All right, maybe just a little bit bigger. Not much bigger, but a little bit. And do the same thing with him. Just kind of back and forth. Just going to go back and forth here. Pressing down as you go. Use a little bit more brush as you come down. And we'll go. Yeah, I think we'll go one more. All about balance, right? You don't want your painting to hang crooked, so we're going to balance it out just a little bit. I think we have more mountain on this side anyway than we do over here. So we'll put one more. A little bit more of a distance between these two. We'll just touch. They all don't have to be perfect little Christmas trees. There you go. I like that. Now, we got some reflections to do first before we put anything else here. So what I do is I just take this little brush. And I know this is going the wrong way because I can't just tap in some color where you think, this one's going to be a little taller than this guy. So just put a little bit more right here. And just tap some stuff into it right like that. Same way over here. We're going to go, and you don't want a lot of color here. This guy's big. He's a big tree, so he's going to have a lot. We're going to tap him down here. I have a big reflection over here. Same way here, just not quite as tall. And same way there. Now this one's going to be a little bit bigger, so we're going to do that right there. Get that same brush we've been using and decide where your reflections start and just pull down gently, very gently, just enough to disturb what you got on there. I like that. Same way over here. Just very gently, just come on down. All the way where you got your reflections going. And then across very lightly. There we go. Same way here. Just very lightly. Not like that. Not like that. That's what you want as far as your reflections go. Now then we're going to put in some tree trunks. Because these are big enough, these especially are close enough where you'll see a little bit of tree trunk. Same way over there. So we'll just pull out a little bit of the burnt sienna. I like that color for tree trunks. And we'll put in just here and there a little bit of trunk showing. It'll get a little bigger as you go down the tree. Keep that in mind. But if you got a big little tree right here, and then back here at the base of it's going to be a big old tree trunk. But you're not going to see all that. So this little guy, he's hitting. But we'll put some right there. Him too. He will put one right there. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side of these trees. We'll just we'll start at the base and go up. Just touch. Give it a little pull. Very little pull. Well, not much of this, like I say, not much of that's going to show once we put some reflections in there. But we'll know it's there, right? And we're going to get another little, I like for reflections to give that 3-inch, the number 3 fan brush, not 3-inch, but number 3 fan brush. Now then, we'll go into some cad yellow. And I think we'll go with a little bit of phthalo blue with that cad yellow. We'll have a nice green color when we do that. You can do however you want to do it, but it does make an instant green when you do that. Real pretty one too, actually. Get a little liquid white just to thin it out a little bit. And maybe a little yellow ochre here and there. And Indian yellow. Just to kind of dulls it up just a little bit, changes flavor here and there. We'll get just a little bit more liquid white in there. All right, now we're ready to go. Load that brush up, just full of paint. We're going to start with these over here first. And we'll just figure out which one you're going to be in the foreground, which background. Now we said this is going to be the lighter area, so there's going to be a little bit more highlights on that side of the tree. There's going to be highlights all over your tree, because I mean, it's what's going to happen. But just touch and just keep going back and forth just a little bit. Now these over here may not have as much. I have to thin that out just a little bit. Got a lot of paint there apparently. So we'll just add just a little bit of thinner to our brush. And that paint out, because it wasn't really sticking. If it doesn't stick, just thin it out a little bit. You can use paint thinner or liquid white. There we go. We just put a little bit here. And then just if you want to, add a little bit of color here. All right. I don't think I had enough paint on my brush for all that. Add a little bit more. Slide back over here. He's going to be in the background back there. I think this guy's going to be in the foreground, so we're going to put just a little bit on him. Like I say, if it ain't sticking, just add you a little bit more thinner or liquid white. I'm adding just a little bit thinner to it. I like the color I had. It's just not quite thin enough. A lot of paint right here, so we don't want a whole lot of color here anyway. So that's a good thing. All right, we're getting it there. We got to put a little bit on the middle tree, which is actually in the foreground. So we're going to brighten him up just a little bit, putting a little liquid white in there. Just a little bit of white. Maybe a little more yellow in there too. All right. And we'll just tap, in there. Yeah, maybe put a little bit of, color down here. There we go, something like that. We'll take our brush for the blending brush for that, and we'll just pull just a little bit down here, so I'll mess up the color just a little bit, and over. That side's almost done. We just need to put some water lines on it, and we'll just go right here. About like that. We might put a bush or two, but I doubt it. I think they're going to leave those kind of far off. I'm going to do this over here about the same way. Only I'm going to change my brushes. I don't like the little brush I'm using. And it didn't quite turn out like I liked on that as much as it used to. I think that brush is getting wore out. I've used it for all kinds of stuff. So we're going to go into our liquid white. Up it into our cad yellow, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, a little bit of blue. Mix them all on the brush there so we'll have a nice variety of flavors there. And just a touch of thinner. There we go. Now I'll try that on for flavors. All right, I think we know which one is going to be in the foreground. That's a big monster tree. This one here, we're going to have just a little bit of color. Just a touch right there. There we go. He knows he's back there. He knows we didn't forget him. He knows he's there. And we're going to change the flavor up just a little bit for the other two, so it kind of stand out. You don't want them all blending too close together. Now we'll get this one next. And just kind of back and forth just a little bit. Keep that same movement going with your brush that you first painted this guy with. And if you want to add just a little bit of color back here, you can do that. Now with this guy in the front, the big dude, we're going to add just a little bit more phthalo blue to this mixture. I want him a little greener. Don't ask me why, I just do. It's the way I see him. He's going to be a little more green than the other guys. He'll go up here to this tall feller. He ate all his vitamins, I guess. And just keep adding. Yeah, he'll change. He'll get a little darker as we go down. But more of it'll be in shadow. But we'll just keep adding the little flavors to him. Remember, you got two sides to the brush, so use both of them. All right. Now I just get a little bit more right down here, and a little bit of color down here. A little bit in the middle here too. I like that. We'll take our little 1-inch brush, and we'll just very lightly and across. About like that. About like it. I think we got it going. Now we're gonna put in a couple bushes on this side over here before we call this a thing. Now we'll get into some of the color. Not quite as dark as the tree color. Just I got another little pile over here. We're gonna put in some bushes, like right here. We're using our round brush. And tap them over here about like that. And like I say, we're gonna just do getting down there. It's not a big deal. We're gonna turn them into reflections. I'm not gonna turn the reflections in yet until I get some color. Now, those of you that have seen some of my paintings, you know what's coming next. You know there's gonna be a big red bush. Sometimes the bush is a little bigger than others. Sometimes it's a little smaller. But we got to have a big red bush. We'll put him right here. Tap a little bit of that color down here. Whatever color you got here is going to be in your reflections. Just tap in all the colors. You're going to have all kinds of colors. We're going to just keep this going here. A few little dots of color there. It's going to mirror those just a bit. Yeah, they're not going to be mirrored reflections, but they're going to be reflections. But you'll have the same color here as you got down here. Doesn't have to be exactly, because I mean, you're not going to see it. You're not going to. You just want an indication of those highlights, those bush shapes and everything. And we'll go over here, a little bit here too, just with the color, and then back over here to this one, a bit over here to that one, and we're going to tap in just a bit of that Indian yellow with a little yellow ochre, and I'll get this guy here with a little bit of that color right there. Now then we'll take our same, wherever I put it, 1-inch brush that we've been using. And same way, very gently, just pull down where that color is. Just pull straight down. Wipe off that paint and then go straight across. I like that. Now, if you're not happy with these, there's not enough color there. Like I don't see the colors as much down here. I'll put it in after the fact. I'm going to put in just a little bit more shapes there and a little bit more color. So we're going to take our 1-inch brush again, very gently, because I put too much dark down there, and it ate up my colors. Something like that. There we go. I'll put in a little bit of a water line here, which is going to go right about there. There, pull right around here. Maybe a little ripple right in there, here or there. And put in a little straight line ripple there. Maybe one right here too. Right like that. And then over Over here, just put a nice little ripple right in there too. And with that, I think we're going to call that for tonight. Let me just put in a few sticks and twigs here and there. Right here. You just want to kind of scratch them in where there's some dark color to hold all these leaves up. Mainly in the dark spaces. That way you can tell where a twig or something used to be, or or should be. Got to hold up all those beautiful limbs and leaves and stuff, right? Okay, now we're going to get us a little bit of color for the old signature. Now, you can sign your painting any way you want to do it. I just use phthalo blue and a little bit of white. A little bit of liquid white and phthalo blue is all I use. A little bit of thinner to thin it down with just a bit because there's an awful lot of paint on the canvas right now. I always sign down here in the corner. That's because they choose that corner or this corner. I like this corner, so we're going to I just sign with my initials, a little J and R. I like the little swoopy on the R there. There's a little, and it gives a little place for the year to sit up here. A 2 and a 6. Put a little bit more on the 6. And again, I would just like to say I appreciate y'all for tuning in and subscribing. And if you hadn't subscribed, please think about doing it. I would very muchly appreciate it. And I think for that, we're going to call that one a done deal. And I appreciate you again. And I hope you enjoyed this little painting. I always enjoy those mountain scenes. I think they're pretty. But I believe for now, we're going to say, talk to you shortly. Bye.